was reading in the New York Times. I read the New York Times every day, and I read this article. It was a research-based article on gratitude here a while back. It was like, wow, I was blown away about the power of gratitude, like the powerful experience that gratitude has on a person, on our bodies. And so that sort of prompted, I think, adding this to this talk, this presentation today, because we wanted to talk about connection and help you have more experience around connection. So we sort of combined them, the connection and gratitude. So that's some of the stuff that I've gotten is from this article in the Times, and I've used the people's names. They're professors that are doing research and have studies that are published around gratitude. So of course we have a PowerPoint. So I'll start it here. And I guess I'm just curious, I mean, because we do have 30 minutes and it's sort of, I think sometimes Jennifer and I kind of like laugh because it's like, oh, we're doing this in 30 minutes. We're used to doing days. So it's like everybody that we've invited to do a presentation, they have like 50 slides. It's like, you have 30 minutes. So like more is better. So I am guilty of that. So here we go. So just remembering that the Satir Institute was Be Inspired. Inspired is a derivative of spirit. So it's Be in Spirit. And some of you may not be familiar with the 5 icebergs. I'm not going to say a whole lot about them, but there's something around, we're moving towards, Satir was really moving toward helping people be sort of like that 3rd iceberg, which is more in charge of themselves, more responsible for not just outside, but very much inside. And then later in life, she started to be more focused on helping people be more into co-creating. So co-creating is from that place of self, and that happens when our yearnings are met. So gratitude really is about co-creating an experience with ourself, and also it can be with other people and with our environments. And, ultimately we want more wholeness where we are one. We're not just connected, we are all the same in so many ways. We all come from the same life force energy source. So today we'll be really looking at sort of like this in charge and this co-creating our experiences. So my bandman might say, like, how much do you manifest intentionally what it is you want for yourself in your life? And in your life would be in every present moment. So we know that when connection is a yearning, so when we are experiencing connection, we know that yearnings are met. And we know when your yearnings met, that means that you are able to be sort of like be in that spirit that you are. You're a spiritual being. Your soul is radiating all of the yearnings of love, acceptance, belonging, connection, intimacy, peace, harmony, love. So connection is a yearning. And so we want to help people be, and have myself to, like, how do I build and create and maintain connection with myself and with others? So we know that humans are hardwired. We're hardwired for connection. So what does that even mean? Neuroscience suggests that we are neurologically wired to connect with others. There's those mirror neurons. When you look in a mirror, it's the other person is the mirror. And so those mirror neurons in our brains are stimulated when we're interacting with other people. So we could say interacting, but also connecting. We're being connected to and connecting with other people. And that we know that human beings are social species. We're wired for connection. So Maslow, he said, besides food, water, and safety, which is what they used to think that was all that was needed. And then they had the study where babies, like failure to thrive because they didn't realize that love and belonging are the most important needs we must fulfill. So love and belonging includes connection. So this includes our desire for interpersonal relationships, intimacy, connection with others, and to be integrated into a group. So that's that sense of belonging. So connection, intimacy, belonging are all yearnings that help us be more in self, more who we were born to be. And that's what these meetings that we decided to start offering. There, it's a community meeting, but it's a community connection meeting to help people really get some of their connection needs or yearnings met. And so her picture of a relationship was that, what Jennifer was just doing is we get grounded with ourselves, connection with self, then I can connect with others. And then I'm connecting in the context. So connect with self, look around, see everybody. Oh, and by the way, we're in a community, we're in the sacred circle. So the relationship is with all of these self, other, and context. And gratitude can be gratitude with self, but it also often is with other, it's about other, it's with context, and it's about context. So what is it? Why is it so powerful? It's a positive emotion. So did you know that? Did you know gratitude is actually considered an emotion? Jennifer, like, now where does gratitude go in the iceberg? Like, oh, it's an emotion, and it arises when you acknowledge that you have goodness in your life and that other people or higher powers have helped you achieve goodness. So when you acknowledge that you have goodness in your life, so I went for a walk this morning and I was experiencing the gratitude for the birds and the I saw a mouse, this gratitude. And it's like, so there's this experience of like having gratitude that I have when I have this positive emotion. And it heals. So this is where I was like sort of blown away. Is gratitude is healing, it's energizing, and it literally does change our lives. So you could say it transforms our lives and our bodies and our emotions when we experience gratitude. And it's like a prism through which we view life in terms of gifts, givers, goodness, and grace. So it's a way of seeing the world. And I know that when I first started studying the Satir model, that was one of the things that I realized is like I almost needed another pair of glasses to help me begin to experience everything through this prism of goodness. This, like, even when people are doing naughty things, that I can see the goodness in them, I can see that they have a positive intention. So the sources lie partially outside of the self. So gratitude sources, so that's like seeing like the birds or seeing the bunnies or seeing somebody that's being sweet to somebody at the store, like because they're just being kind. That is outside of the self, and yet it like impacts myself because it meets one of my yearnings, or it means maybe a lot of my yearnings. So it's an equation. They call it sort of the gratitude equation, and it's a gift. Gratitude is a gift that keeps giving. So some people may think it's only about feeling, but that's only half of it. So feeling gratitude, but it's also expressing gratitude. So you can express it with your words, with your looks, with your body language. And the other thing is that part of the expressing it is that we receive it. Can you receive someone's gratitude of you? Can you allow that into your heart, into yourself? And then we also know that witnessing gratitude. So if I'm right now, if I'm expressing gratitude to Jennifer for, we're going to show a little video, and she like looked for it and she figured out how to put it into a slide. And I have this great gratitude for her. Just by you hearing me express my gratitude to her, that impacts you. That impacts your physiologically, emotionally, and spiritually. So expressing gratitude in front of someone else, especially, I would say, especially kids, really impacts them because they're learning, but there is a certain amount of grace and, well, you would say like there's a certain amount of increased higher vibration frequency that happens when gratitude is present. And especially when it's expressed. So we have this picture that we sort of this diagram in the Satir transformational systemic therapy that we use, and you'll see it says the use of self. So when I am experiencing and expressing gratitude, so even though it's a feeling, it's a positive feeling, then it goes, I'm have a yearning that's being met. Myself, then my yearning, my self energy impacts my client or impacts my friend or a family member. And their yearning then can get met just by me expressing gratitude. And that we know that when I'm experiencing a yearning being met and I'm in self, then I'm also connected to, or you could say I have access to all of this universal wisdom and infinite possibilities. And that then impacts the person it can impact the person I express gratitude to, that they also, then their yearning is met and they're more in self and their intuition is online and they can begin to have more information from the universe and the infinite possibilities come to them or through them. And so then when we are a witness to it, so like the iceberg down on the bottom is the witness and how they then are also impacted because one of their yearnings, that energy of the gratitude, that positive emotion impacts them because it is an energy. So it's a healing energy. So it's a disposition. So you may have heard an attitude of gratitude for healing and transformation. We want to bring it into our conscious awareness and we want to cultivate it. So when we cultivate gratitude, it increases our quality of life. And it's even more so than compassion and empathy. The way of seeing the world with a sense of heartfulness, like my heart is full of embracingness and appreciation of all that is being experienced. So it is that, again, it's like putting on those glasses, a way of seeing the world with gratitude. And this research that's being done and has been done is like, I think, say a grateful heart may be a healthier heart. A spiritual heart is a healthier heart, and it has been shown that gratitude does change your cardiac biology. So there's better sleep, there's more energy, and the inflammatory markers have been reduced drastically with people that are cardiac patients when they're beginning to experience and practice gratitude on a daily basis. So gratitude, as well as compassion, as well as connectedness in the world, supports our mental health. And as therapists, as people that work with people, because there's people everywhere in our lives. I think it's really wonderful to know that like gratitude, compassion, and connectedness supports mental health, and it reduces and helps people recover from bipolar, schizophrenia, and depression. And that's from Paul Mills. He's done been doing a study. And then we're going to show a video. Jennifer, do you want to take it from here?
I will. I also just wanted to add to what Linda was just saying about gratitude. Actually, let's stop sharing for a moment if we can do that. There we go. It was interesting when Linda and I were looking at gratitude. The literature describes it as a positive emotion, and it's so much more than that. When Linda said, "Where do you think it is on the iceberg?" It really comes. It's a direct connection with self when we are practicing gratitude and connecting with gratitude. Even just now, as we're talking about it, as we're discussing gratitude, just noticing. I know for me, I have a whole body response. My heart feels warm. I feel in my solar plexus, really, I feel connected. I feel connected with all of you, and even start reflecting, okay, what am I grateful for today? Even just thinking and reflecting on gratitude has a positive physiological effect. So I think it's so much more than an emotion, and it is an emotion. It is a feeling, and we can look at it in terms of the whole iceberg, and it's really a direct connection. self and with oneness. Yeah, and it resonates. I think when we're intentional about focusing gratitude, it resonates with self, with all of our internal resources, and yeah, meeting our yearnings for connection. Okay, with that, I got off on a tangent.
Well, I
um,
like that because I mean, really, they call it's an attitude of gratitude. So is an attitude an
mhm,
emotion? I mean, it's
yeah,
this
and it's more
larger.
than an attitude, because it's a whole experience. Anyway, this video that you're about to see, it's about 5 minutes long. Some of you might be familiar with it. It's Brother David Steindl Rast, and he first put this video out in 2007, and then this is an updated version. This is the same narrative, but as you watch this, and it's a visual and audit. Like, just watch this and just notice what happens for you in your experience as you are watching. I'm going to. Okay.
You think this is just another day in your life? It's not just another day. It's the one day that is given to you today. It's a gift. It's the only gift that you have right now. And the only appropriate response is gratefulness. If you learn to respond as if it were the first day in your life and the very last day, then you will have spent this day very well. Begin by opening your eyes and be surprised that you have eyes you can open. That incredible array of colors that is constantly offered to us for pure enjoyment. Look at the sky. We so rarely look at the sky. We so rarely note how different it is from moment to moment, with clouds coming and going. Open your eyes, look at that. Look at the faces of people whom you meet. Each one has an incredible story behind their face. Not only their own story, but the story of their ancestors. All that life from generations and from so many places all over the world flows together and meets you here like a life-giving water if you only open your heart and drink. Open your heart to the incredible gifts that civilization gives to us. You flip a switch and there's electric light. Turn a faucet and there's warm water and cold water and drinkable water. A gift that millions and millions in the world will never experience. And so I wish you that you will open your heart to all these blessings and let them flow through you. That everyone whom you will meet on this day will be blessed by you, just by your presence. Let the gratefulness overflow into blessing all around you. Then it will really be a good day.
Wow.
Yeah, let the gratefulness overflow into blessing all around you. Okay.
Okay. Mm. So a little bit of the how does gratitude have such a powerful effect on physiology and mental health? It provides that sense of connection, connection with us, self, other context. When we experience connection, we feel more at home. Home is self. Home is self with me, but when I'm at home with self, I also am at home as I am part of the universe. And I'm less stressed. So, effects of gratitude, it impacts your neural activity, changes not just your activity in your brain, but it changes your behavior, and it boosts the neurotransmitter serotonin. It activates the brainstem to produce dopamine. So that's sort of, remember, co-creating. You are co-creating with your body when we intentionally make decisions to experience gratitude, experience it, express it, and receive it. We are changing our brains when we are intentionally manifesting how we see the world, how we experience the world, how we experience ourselves. And just remembering, if you didn't know, dopamine is our brain's pleasure chemical. So I'm making a choice that I want more pleasure. I want to experience more pleasure. Pleasure is when I'm experiencing love, when I'm experiencing connection, when I'm experiencing belonging, when I'm experiencing validation and intimacy. I make a choice. And it improves the well-being of me, the giver, but also the person that's receiving it, and then the witnesses that are around. So, I don't know how many of you are how familiar you are with the Satir model, but Satir had this thing that she did. It was called the temperature reading. The temperature reading always started with your appreciations. And when I worked with these teenage girls in residential treatment, we would start out with like the temperature reading, appreciation. These girls could, when they came in, they could only appreciate others at a certain point. Appreciating themselves was so difficult for them. But once they turned the corner on being able to begin to experience gratitude and appreciation for themselves, there would be a shift in their well-being and their healing. So Satir was on to this gratitude thing, like she just was. And it allows us to look at what we do have to feel abundance. So again, that way of seeing the world, what we have and what we have choice about, versus that allows us to have abundance versus scarcity. So some of the daily and weekly rituals, I mean, I'm sure many of you might know, it's like really it's that whole counting your blessings and be specific. When you're specific, it's more powerful. And then you develop that gratitude habit. Link your gratitude practice to something you're already doing. So when I make my coffee in the morning, I'm giving gratitude. When I go for my walk, I'm intentionally having gratitude moments. And you can have a gratitude journaling. And the people that were in the hospital in some of these studies, they had them journal gratitude, and they're the ones that their markers decreased because they started healing because of the energy that is, I guess, attached to the experience of gratitude. It's a higher vibration, it's a higher frequency, it's a healing experience. So we want to look at, what am I grateful for? And you can take turns around the dinner table sharing one thing you're grateful for. Whenever we have family dinners, that's one of the things that we do. What are you grateful for? And share something positive that happened today. Thank you notes are about gratitude. Write letters, that can be about gratitude. And then there's this list of questions that Dr. Joel Wong generated. It's online. There is the link to it, but he goes into all of these different sort of categories of gratitude: micro, gratitude savoring, interpersonal, redemptive, macro culture. So who would have known that there would be so many different categories of gratitude? But I know now. They're kind of interesting. And so here are some questions that we'd like for you to, for discussion points. And you can share like what happened for you when you were experiencing the video. So how and when do you practice gratitude? What is your experience of gratitude? What prompts you to make time to practice gratitude? How does gratitude benefit you? Who and what puts a smile on your face? Who or what makes you laugh? Who appreciates you? Who or what makes you feel like you truly matter? And who told you that you made a positive difference in their lives? These are just a little sampling of questions for your breakout room discussion. So we'll have you, if you want to take a screenshot or not, that's okay. Or take a picture. You can use these as a guideline.